You already know something is wrong. You pick it up without deciding to. You put it down and pick it up again 30 seconds later. You open an app, close it, open the same app. You lie in bed and tell yourself one more minute for the 4th time. You are not weak. You are not undisciplined. You are the most predictable outcome of the most sophisticated behavioral experiment ever run on a human population. And nobody told you they were running it. In 1930, a psychologist put a pigeon in a box and accidentally discovered the most addictive mechanism ever built into the human brain. 70 years later, a small team of engineers in Silicon Valley found his notes, and they used them. The phone in your pocket isn't a communication device. It's a Skinner box, and you've been inside it this whole time. The psychologist's name was B.F. Skinner, and he wasn't trying to build anything addictive. He was trying to understand something much simpler. How do animals learn? He built a small chamber, a box, with a lever inside. When the pigeon pressed the lever, food appeared. The pigeon learned fast. Press lever. Get food. Simple. Then Skinner changed one thing. He made the food random. Sometimes pressing the lever gave food. Sometimes it gave nothing. No pattern, no logic, just the lever and the chance. And something strange happened. The pigeons didn't slow down. They sped up. They pressed the lever faster, more desperately, more obsessively than they ever had when the reward was guaranteed. The uncertainty didn't discourage them. It consumed them. Skinner had a name for what he'd stumbled onto. He called it a variable reward schedule, and it turned out to be the most powerful behavioral mechanism ever documented in a living creature. It works on humans exactly the same way. Pull down on your feed. Sometimes there's something interesting. Sometimes there's nothing. No pattern, no logic, just the pull and the chance. Your brain cannot help itself. The uncertainty is the point. Guaranteed rewards train behavior. Variable rewards create compulsion, and your feed was never designed to be guaranteed. In the early days of social media, the engineers building these platforms understood exactly what they had. They had read the psychology. They knew about Skinner. Some of them had studied it directly. And when they sat down to design the feed, the notification system, the like button, they made a specific choice. They chose variable over consistent, unpredictable over reliable. They built the lever. They built the randomness. And then they put it in everyone's pocket. Raskin was one of the designers who built the infinite scroll, the feature that means your feed never ends, never runs out, never forces you to stop and make a decision. In 2018, he told a reporter he felt guilty about it. He estimated that infinite scroll alone costs humanity around 200,000 hours of human attention every single day. He had left the industry by then. He said that behind every screen, behind every feature, there are 1,000 engineers whose sole job is to keep you there as long as possible. 1,000 engineers against one of you. But the scroll was only the container. What filled it was its own machine entirely. Every time you post something, a photo, a thought, anything, there is a delay before the likes arrive. That delay is not a technical limitation. It is a design choice. The platforms discovered early on that if likes arrived instantly, people posted and moved on. But if likes arrived unpredictably, in small bursts, spread across hours, people came back again and again, checking, waiting, the same pigeon, the same lever, the same desperate, irrational hope that this time the food will be there. Your own life became the content, and the machine turned you into its most loyal user. The average person unlocks their phone 96 times a day, once every 10 minutes across every waking hour. When researchers asked those same people how often they thought they checked it, they guessed around 30. The gap between what is actually happening and what people believe is happening is not a small one, and that gap was engineered. An accurate perception of how often you use your phone would make you want to use it less, so the experience was designed to make the time disappear. The scroll feels like nothing. A minute becomes 20. You surface from it the way you surface from a half-remembered dream, slightly confused about where the time went. There is a word for what happens to your brain inside that loop, the same word that appears in addiction research: tolerance. A team of neuroscientists ran a study on people who used social media heavily versus people who used it rarely. They put both groups in a brain scanner and showed them the same content. The heavy users showed dramatically weaker responses in the reward centers of their brain. The same content that lit up a light user barely registered for someone who scrolled for hours a day. The reward had shrunk, but the behavior hadn't. They were still scrolling just as much, just feeling it less, needing more to feel anything at all, chasing a response their brain had quietly turned down to protect itself. This is not a metaphor. This is the clinical definition of addiction. And here is where it stops being about pigeons and levers and becomes about something much older than any of this. Your brain was not built for this century. It was built for a world where information was scarce, where social standing determined survival, where knowing what others thought of you could mean the difference between belonging to the group or being left outside it. Every notification is a social signal. Every like is a status update. Every scroll is your ancient brain scanning the horizon for threats and allies. You are not weak for being unable to put it down. You are running 200,000-year-old software in a world that was specifically redesigned to exploit every line of it. The people who built these systems knew this. Some of them said it openly. Sean Parker, one of Facebook's earliest investors, sat down for a public interview in 2017 and described exactly what they had built. He said it was designed to consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible, that they had created a social validation feedback loop, and that they had all known, going in, that they were doing it. He called it a conscious decision. He said, "God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains." He laughed when he said it, an awkward, uncomfortable laugh, the kind that fills the space where guilt used to be. The machine kept running. Right now, there are teams inside every major platform running thousands of simultaneous experiments on which version of the feed keeps you there longest, which color of notification badge you respond to fastest, whether sadness or outrage or anxiety drives more engagement than happiness. They know the answers. They have known them for years. The version of the app on your phone is not version 1. It is version 10,000. Every iteration optimized against your attention, your impulse control, your loneliness, your boredom, your fear of missing something. You were never just a user. You were the experiment. But here is the thing about a system this sophisticated, this deliberately constructed. It requires that you never see it clearly. The slot machine works because you believe you might win. The feed works because you believe you are choosing. The moment the mechanism becomes visible, it begins to lose its grip. Not completely, not immediately. Skinner's pigeons kept pressing the lever, even when they knew the food was random. The wiring runs too deep for pure awareness to fix it. But awareness changes the relationship. You still feel the pull. You will probably check your phone within the next hour, maybe within the next 10 minutes. That is not failure. That is 10,000 engineers doing exactly what they were hired to do. The compulsion was built before you ever downloaded the app. The lever was waiting for you. What changes is what you do with the moment between the impulse and the action. That gap, that half second where you feel the pull and haven't yet responded to it, is the only place in this entire system that was never engineered. They optimized everything up to that moment, everything after it. But that precise instant, the one where you notice what's happening, that one is still yours. It has always been yours. They just never needed you to know that.